This video is for educational and storytelling purposes only. It contains references to real-life crimes and may be disturbing to some viewers. What drives a daughter to turn on her own family? In these cases, the answer is never simple, but the outcomes are always devastating. Sometimes people who appear ordinary on the outside are hiding serious secrets. A pastor's daughter. A troubled teenager in love. A quiet girl with a fantasy life. A grieving daughter who never ran. A young woman between abuse and violence. Different stories, different towns, but each ended the same way. Families were destroyed and lives changed permanently. In 2008 in Alba, Texas, 16-year-old Erin Caffey appeared to be the perfect pastor's daughter. She sang in church, worked part-time, and came from a family many in the community respected. But everything changed when she began dating 19-year-old Charlie Wilkinson, a boyfriend her parents believed was controlling and dangerous. When Terry and Penny Caffey tried to end the relationship, Erin did not back down. Instead, she and Wilkinson, along with two of his friends, allegedly planned the murder of Erin's entire family. On March 1, 2008, the plan was carried out. While Erin and Bobby Johnson waited outside in a getaway car, Wilkinson and Charles Wade entered the Caffey home early that morning. Inside, Terry and Penny were killed. Their two younger sons, Matthew and Tyler, were also killed. Terry Caffey survived. Gravely wounded, he crawled through the wreckage to reach help. From the hospital bed, he identified the attackers, and the case quickly unraveled. All four were arrested the same day. Wilkinson and Wade received life sentences without parole. Bobby Johnson was sentenced to 40 years. Erin Caffey received 2 consecutive life sentences plus 25 years. What made this case notable was Terry Caffey's response. After losing his wife and sons, he chose to forgive his daughter. He visited her in prison and told her he loved her. In a story built on betrayal, that act of forgiveness became unexpected. In Canada, another family was destroyed by a relationship that should never have existed. In Medicine Hat, Alberta, 12-year-old Jasmine Richardson became involved with 23-year-old Jeremy Steinke, a man who embraced a dark fantasy identity and presented himself as a werewolf. Their relationship developed online and became disturbing over time. When Jasmine's parents tried to stop it, the situation turned deadly. The two exchanged messages revealing a plan. One line reportedly written by Steinke stated he had a plan beginning with killing Jasmine's parents and ending with marrying her. Jasmine's response was, "It has to be done." On April 23, 2006, Steinke entered the Richardson home and killed Mark and Deborah Richardson. Jasmine allegedly killed her 8-year-old brother, Jacob, as well. The next day, the truth emerged. The pair were tracked down and arrested after their digital communications exposed the relationship and murders. Jasmine became one of the youngest people convicted of multiple murders in Canada. Because of her age, she received a youth sentence rather than an adult one. After years in the justice system and treatment programs, she was eventually released under a new identity. For the Richardson family, the damage was permanent. Their case remains a disturbing example of teenage obsession resulting in murder. Then there is the case of Crystal Howell. In 2014, Crystal Howell lived with her father, Michael Howell, in a remote cabin in North Carolina. Their relationship was strained, but no one predicted what happened next. One morning, while Michael was unconscious after a shower, Crystal allegedly took his shotgun and shot him. What followed was unusual. Instead of calling for help or running away, Crystal hid her father's body in a plastic container and moved it outside to a shed. Then she stayed. She invited friends over. She spent his money. She had his vehicle modified. For weeks, life in the cabin continued as if nothing had happened. To outsiders, she said he took his own life. The lie collapsed when 2 friends discovered the container. By then, Crystal had fled. She was later arrested and eventually pleaded guilty. In court, she claimed she killed her father because he planned to sell a pet pig she had grown attached to. Whether that explanation was complete or not, the result was the same: one deceased father, one broken family. Not every case is that simple. Sometimes violence involves stories of abuse, fear, and survival. That was the argument in the case of Ashley Martinson, Wisconsin teenager who built an online persona around horror and dark fiction. To prosecutors, her writing suggested obsession with violence. To her defense, it reflected a child in a violent home. Ashley claimed she suffered years of abuse from her stepfather, Thomas Ayers, and that her mother, Jennifer, failed to protect her. According to her account, the night of the murders began with an argument. She said she shot her stepfather, then stabbed her mother. What followed was notable. Ashley did not attack her younger half-sisters. Instead, she reportedly gave them snacks, put on a movie, and left a note saying she loved them and that there had been an accident. Then she fled with her boyfriend. The next day, police found the house and bodies. Ashley was arrested shortly after in Indiana. Her trial presented two narratives: a calculating killer or a traumatized victim. She pleaded guilty to second-degree intentional homicide and received a lengthy prison sentence. Then there is one of the most famous cases, a story beginning with teenage friendship and ending in murder. In 1950s Christchurch, New Zealand, Pauline Parker and Juliet Hume formed an intense bond. They created a shared fantasy universe called the Fourth World, where their friendship felt sacred. When Juliet's parents planned to separate the girls, the fantasy collapsed. Pauline's mother, Honora Parker, became the obstacle. She would not allow the girls to stay together. In their diaries, their private world turned darker. They began planning Honora's death. On June 22, 1954, the girls took Honora for a walk in Victoria Park. There, they killed her with a brick wrapped in a stocking. They were caught quickly. Their diaries exposed the truth, revealing the depth of their obsession and how they planned the murder. Because they were teenagers, they were sentenced under New Zealand law. Juliet Hume later changed her name to Anne Perry and became a famous crime novelist, spending decades hidden behind a new identity. When her past was uncovered, the irony was notable. A woman convicted of murder built a career writing about it. These cases differ in setting, age, and motive, but they point to the same truth. Sometimes people closest to a family destroy it. Sometimes love becomes obsession. Sometimes rebellion becomes murder. The most notable part is not the crime itself, but how ordinary everything appeared before. That makes these cases unforgettable. Not just the violence, but the betrayal. Not just the death, but the loss of what should have been safe. Once trust is broken, the damage never disappears. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more true crime documentaries and case coverage.